just about connecting to people, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I love the new folklore.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. People
Folklore and
ask me who my
Evermore.
yes.
Yeah.
People ask me who my inspirations are. I'm like, Taylor Swift.
You know, though, I've been teaching voice for like 12 years, and I have a couple of students that love her music. And so when you get inside the music and you have to teach it, you're like, oh, this is this is legit. She has a really crazy vocal range, and it's really impressive, and her songwriting is so impressive. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
I'm
I'm a
not gonna,
Swiftie.
yeah.
I fought it for a long time
I
too. I was like
know.
not gonna give in. Okay, Taylor Swift. And then her Grammy performance this year was like genius. Ken Stahl is here. Do you know Ken Stahl?
I don't think so. I can't see who you see.
You
Do I
should
have
be
to?
able to see comments. Do you just see comments
Oh,
on the
okay.
right?
Okay, yeah. I had it on full screen. There we go.
There we are.
Hi, Ken.
So I talk about Ken every week because Ken has run every single day for like 380 days in a row. He just did a marathon yesterday. And
Ooh.
here's the big question. You do a marathon, don't you get a rest day the next day, or did you still run? Because that would like blow my mind if you still ran the day after a marathon. So
Yeah,
I've got
if you do, you got crazy nutrition because
something and a Theragun. Like you need some sort of massage after that. Ay, ay, ay. So I'm going to pronounce your name correctly. It's Camela Widad.
you got it.
Yes!
Woo!
Oh my goodness. I had an artist, not even an artist. It was my bass player. I had a band for years, and I would always introduce all the members, and nobody ever told me that for a year I pronounced his name wrong. For a year, they were laughing at me behind me on stage. Like, that's just kind of mean. Anyway, I have to pronounce names right.
Yeah, my name, I've since college I've had to say it's like Pamela with a C, because the first run people get at my name is Camilla.
Really?
But now that Kamala Harris is vice president, now everyone says Kamala when they see my name, and I'm like, what?
Do you
So
get
after a while,
Kamala?
yeah, it's Kamala for years, but now it's Kamala, and I'm like, all right, I'll take it. But yeah, it's after a while you just stop, like, I don't know if this was your band, maybe you just stop correcting people because you're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
but
fine.
maybe that's what it was. I was mortified. And so I'm also really excited, and I don't know if we talked about this when we did our Zoom show together, but you're in Minnesota.
I'm in
which-
Wisconsin.
Excuse me, you're in Wisconsin. You're not, never mind.
They get mixed up a lot though. I went to college in Minnesota though, so if you read a bio somewhere, I do have an association with Minnesota.
Because I
And
got
it's
it right.
colder, by the way. It is colder than Wisconsin. Testify.
But here's my ignorance. They're next to each other, right?
Yes.
On the map. Okay.
Yep.
My favorite murder mystery takes place in Minnesota. Oh. Yeah, and so anyway, that's just what I had in mind.
Yeah.
But I'm just so excited to hear you again because we did the Zoom showcase with Bruce Swan, and I was just in love with your whole thing, your voice and your writing and your you and just the whole shebang. So here you are.
Likewise.
So I just think we should jump in. I want to hear a song.
All right. So tonight there might be songs from 3 or 4 different records and then some new ones. So for anybody who's tuning in, I guess I could go on Facebook and see where you are and see if you have comments there. But technology is so weird. So we've got StreamYard opened up and there's comments here. But I'll have to pop over to Facebook when Grace is playing and see if any of you are there. So this was off my last record, which is titled Warriors of Love. And this is a song called Candle. This is about falling in love. He's been dreaming of this night for months. He's going for his first kiss, but she's looking so pretty under that starlight. He's thinking, man, don't blow this. You know he's waiting for her fire, staring her right in the face. Who's gonna light up that first spark? Candle waiting in the dark. She's been walk in this hospital for hours. This baby's taking his sweet time. She's so tired, she's ready to give up. But that man, he's never left her side. You know he's waiting for her fire, staring her right in the face. Who's gonna light up that first spark? A candle waiting in the dark, in the dark. Oh, are they gonna jump, or will they stay where they are? Or will they take that chance to fly away? Oh, how many years they roll by, eating, working, sleeping, then retire. She wonders if he still loves her when she looks in his eyes. You know she's waiting for his fire, staring him right in the face. Who's gonna light up that first spark? A candle waiting in the dark. You know they're waiting for that fire, staring them right in the face. Who's gonna light up that first spark? A candle waiting in the dark, in the dark, in the dark.
Girl, it's so good. I love that song. What is the name of that song? Is it Candle in the Dark?
It is just Candle. Sorry, I'm going to find
Candle.
my guitar setup mojo here. Yeah, Candle was a Pat Pattison songwriting exercise. So any songwriter here knows Pat Pattison, Berklee
I don't.
College of Berklee College of Music, Better Songwriting, or How to Write Better Lyrics. He has object writing. So if you've been to any songwriting workshops or seminars, they will often do object writing where you pick an object, and mine was a candle. And I just did it on my own. I was like, okay, the 5 senses, how would you describe? And then it turned into this song. It started off like, what would it taste like? What would it smell like? What did it sound like?
No, I love that. So I've tried object writing before, but I didn't know that there was a name for that technique. Mm-hmm. I love it. So I got smart this week because if you may have noticed in the description, I have a Spotify playlist with all the artists I have on every Monday, and I never think to write down the darn songs that they play. And then afterward, I'm always like, what did they play? So I'm writing them down tonight.
Oh, yay. Hi, Brian. Hi, Marianne.
Marianne Romanoli? Did I say that right? Marianne Romanoli says, awesome, Widad.
Yay.
I love it. So I like to, you sometimes go, it's Widad Music on Bandcamp, right?
It is.
I love that it's Widad Music USA. I love that. I'm going to try a song that needs fewer words. So this is the first year I've ever been in a songwriting group, and we got this prompt, which was handlebars. And it got me thinking about, I was in this kind of like depressed place with music this year. I'm sure you can relate. Mm-hmm. And like getting into this whole self-pity thing, and I can never do it, and I can't afford it. And blah, 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 blah.
I don't know anything about that.
But then I remembered when I was a little kid, we were really, really poor. And the only reason I got a cool bike when I was 10 was because I bought it myself. I took all my McDonald's toys, and I had a yard sale, and I got $100, and I went and bought my own bike.
Wait, you got $100 at a yard sale? Woo!
Yeah, I was working it.
That's awesome.
I remember that day. And so I just got to thinking, like, if 10-year-old me can sell her McDonald's toys and buy herself a bike, then adult me can certainly, like, pull up her
Yes.
bootstraps and do something. So
Yes.
there's just too many words in this song. But I just haven't taken the time to whittle them down. I haven't had the time to play music either.
Yeah.
Well, so we can talk about that later. But guys, I haven't played music since last Monday. I'm a little rusty today. Anyway, a song with too many words. And I'll just mention tonight, so I'm going to keep saying this. You tip us if you can. That's the only way that we're making money right now. And if you can't, we totally understand. But please like and follow us on all the social media platforms. Camela, we were talking about all the different mispronunciations. It's not Kamala. Camela's got her Bandcamp up in the link up there. And I just launched my fan funding campaign for my new album. So you can check those things out and like us on all the stuff. Yeah, and I'm talking about all that, forgetting to put my page up. Silly me. Okay, this is called Handlebars. We didn't have much, I was lucky to feel like a kid. I see it now, we were just surviving, and I don't think my mama really lived. Down the street were all the friends with their shiny 2 wheels to ride. I'd sit on the rocks and hope they'd stop and say, come on girl, let's go for a drive. And we're riding faster, wanna see around the bend in the road. Race past mean dogs and hope they don't follow you home. I wasn't broken by the wanting, I always believed in stars, and I knew someday I'd get my own handlebars. Sitting back and letting it happen was never gonna work for me. Took my Happy Meal toys, put them on a table for sale in a sort of roadside menagerie. A fresh new Franklin never felt so good. I was the king of the world, a kid. So my dad picked me up and we went to the shop, and then I pedaled faster than I ever did. And we're riding faster, wanna see around the bend in the road. Race past mean dogs and hope they don't follow you home. I wasn't broken by the wanting, I always believed in me. I knew someday I'd make everybody see. Ooh. Some mornings it's easier to let the sun shine on alone. Like the weight of it all's gonna just make you fall. Better off to protect those weary bones. Deep inside is that little girl hiding, saying this is not enough for me. So I pick myself up and drink down a cup and say, come on girl, let's ride that rush of caffeine. Riding faster, wanna see around the bend in the road. Race past mean dogs, hope they don't follow you home. I wasn't broken by the wanting, I always believed in stars. Here I am someday, I've got my own handlebars. I have no idea how to end that song. Thank you.
Yay!
So we were talking in sound check about how, like, I've been having these panic attacks that if suddenly I'm going to have to be on a stage again and remember how to perform and, like, how to end a song. Like, we've learned this whole new art of playing on the internet. It'll be like getting back on a bike. Right?
Handlebars, perfect. It will be, and I think it will be for the audience too. I think that we all are doing the best we can, and boy, do we appreciate everybody who's here right now and, you know, just making the best of such a weird time and a weird situation, but keeping live music alive. But yeah, I mean, go into a live show again. I had rehearsals with bandmates last month, and we distanced and we had masks on, which is so hard to sing through a mask. Let me just say, but it felt so good.
Oh, I bet it did.
Just to hear the sounds and be surrounded by them. I was like, oh,
I know. It's hard to explain. Oh, hey, Chris. It's hard to explain that feeling of playing music with other people. Like it's, hey, Matt.
Yeah, Matt. So true.
It's just like, how would you explain that to someone? It's like this electric energy when you're playing music with other people that I've never experienced in any other part of my life.
Yeah, I was talking about this with someone I was working with about how I wanted to rehearse with bandmates because there's a communication that happens that I would describe as like heart connection communication. And he's like a master of recording and sound and live shows. And he said, oh yeah, it's band telepathy. And I was like, this happens with the audience. We have this moment where our hearts connect and that energy and that spark, there is just, when we're in the same place and we're connecting, oh, it's magic.
I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I miss it so much. Do you have anything on the horizon?
I do. I live in Spring Green, Wisconsin. The next song I'm going to play is about this town. My family were farmers growing up, and so I spent a lot of my time. Like my grandma lived in this small Cape Cod. She had 9 kids. So when we were all there, oh, One Love. Oh my gosh. I haven't done that one in a long time. Brian, of course, you're requesting something I don't know how to play at this moment.
He does that to me too.
I love you. I love you. So grandma was like, get outside. Just go. Get outside. So we were like dirt and creek and woods and mosquito bites and nettle stings. But Spring Green was this amazing convergence of Frank Lloyd Wright. He built his home and architecture school here called Taliesin, and the Taliesin School of Architecture for a long time brought architects studying from all over the world. And then in the summer, at the same time, American Players Theater, which does outdoor Shakespeare, had all these actors that would come in from all over the world. And as a kid, I never really knew, where I belonged. And so this small town, I can't remember what your original question is because I'm digressing here.
No, that's okay. Me either. But I'm enjoying hearing you talk about growing up.
Yeah, it's just like, being in this small, intimate place, and it's a small town, live shows. I have a live show this summer. And because it's summertime in Wisconsin, everyone goes outside. So we have this local bar and restaurant called The Shed. It's The Shed. And they have Locals Night every Thursday. So I'll play at Locals Night and I'll be on a stage like really far from people. But most things are really kind of starting to open up and things are safe. But I did that last summer too. And it was just so great. It was
now you're talking small town, right?
Yep, 1,600 people.
1,600? Mm-hmm. So I live in a town now that's 2,000 people. So it's comparable. Yeah. I grew up in a town that I thought was a small town because it felt like one because everyone knew everyone else. But it was like 25,000 people. And I laugh at myself like, that's not a small town. And then I said to someone on one of these shows that I lived in a small town, and they were like, oh, what do you mean, like 600 people? Because that's where they lived.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, oh, now I feel like a jerk. But small town, so I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think that there's something, I haven't lived here for 30 years, and there's something really comforting about it for me, especially during this last year of pandemic times, to have a little bit of intimacy, to like walk in somewhere and have people know your name. And because we're small, there's opportunities to get together where things were spaced out. So we would sit outside in lawn chairs spaced out with family, and we could be outside doing yard work or farm work or something. So yeah, I'm kind of loving the quaintness, but Spring Green is so cultured that there's this really beautiful convergence for me. And we're 35 minutes from Madison. Marianne said to me, oh my gosh, Widad, you're 40 minutes from a Starbucks. What are you going to do?
What do
She
you
knows I love
do?
green tea from Starbucks. I know.
I've recently gotten hooked on, we just got a Starbucks, a drive-through one here. And so I'm hooked now on the shaken espresso. Have you had the shaken espresso?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's so good. I can't go back to Dunkin' again. Totally ruined. Oh my goodness. So you have planned a next song. What is your next song?
This is called My Hometown,
Oh, yeah.
and it will be on the next record.
Which you're currently working on?
Yes, it's going to be an EP, so that we can turn around and make another EP and just keep giving you live music. And what's really cool is that the beginning lyrics of the song, how did they get up so high? Weren't they scared to fall? Just to paint their names on the water tower wall behind the old brick school. And my mom just recently found a historian in Spring Green that found a picture of the brick school with the water tower behind it. It's just like so cool. So it's going to end up somewhere, whether it's on like the single album cover. And this one, I've made a commitment to release it on vinyl. So those of you that still use vinyl and love it, you'll be able to get this one.
How do they get up so high? Were they scared to fall? Just to paint their names on the water tower wall behind the old brick school, built in 1908. It stood for 80 years, just something big, it took its place. Where the train comes once a week, a safe place where the grass is still greener. Artists and architects, farmers and lovers, you can see the stars at midnight tonight in my hometown. The settlers said the spring green took their breath away, so it became the town's namesake. Frank Lloyd Wright called it home, in the theaters too. We were rednecks and train wrecks, just dreamers through and through. Where the train comes once a week, a safe place where the grass is still greener. Artists and architects, farmers and lovers, you can see the stars at midnight tonight in my hometown. Amazing grace, how sweet that saved me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Where the train comes once a week, a safe place where the grass, it's still greener. Artists and architects, farmers and lovers, you can see the stars at midnight tonight in my hometown. My hometown.
I love that. Can we also just take a moment and wax poetic about your voice? Because your voice is just so freaking stunning, and I want it coming out of my throat.
Let's just record that, and I'm going to take it everywhere I go. Just listen to that all the time.
Oh, it's beautiful. Brian agrees with me, of course.
Thank you, Brian. Oh,
No.
I miss Brian. Muses in the Vineyard.
I know. I was just going to ask where you connected with Brian.
Yeah.
NERFA?
We did meet at NERFA. Gosh, probably a long time ago. I think the last NERFA I've been to might have been 2014, 2013 maybe. And yeah, Muses in the Vineyard. I mean, us in the business, yes, of, oh, thanks, Matt, of folk music. We have so much love for those that do concerts and songwriting circles and all the ways that you are bringing music together and, sometimes putting up your own money and not making a lot of it. But yeah, Brian is a treasure.
He really is. I was telling him earlier, when Brian and I first met, I had been in a band, and something about that band, I think, I was never a very confident person to begin with, and I think that I put this band together because I didn't think I could be a solo artist. So I was really leaning on that, and the band broke up gloriously. And it was Brian that gave me the confidence to say, you know what, I can actually be a solo artist. And so, I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Brian.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I'm just going to cry thinking about Brian. And I'm so glad Matt Montero is here tonight. Matt had a free hot tub to give away, but I didn't have the skills to remove it, so I didn't say that I wanted the hot tub. But I really wanted the hot tub. Can you? I'm just imagining it now. I'm looking at the stars at midnight. I'm sitting in my hot tub. Dreams. Anyway, and Brian is blushing. See, we did our job.
I know.
So I'm at this place in my life where I finally feel confident that I can be a solo artist, and I'm releasing a new album, and I've got, my son is 2, and I'm, got a lot of things going on, and my dad passed away in 2016, and it's just this constant, I'm so excited about all these things, but I'm also like, oh my God, I wish my dad could see this, And look, being a mom makes the waterworks start instantly.
Oh, yeah. And you are, I mean, from somebody who doesn't know a lot about you historically, but I'm a vocal coach, there's something so beautiful about you just taking command over what you carry and bringing it through with gentleness and power at the same time. That's just really lovely. So yeah, I wish your dad could see it too.
Thank you. I want to talk about the vocal coaching too, but my dad was my biggest supporter. My mom was supported me too, but I was his passion project, he put it all into me, and people who hear me every week are so sick of this story. But I'll just tell you that, so my dad was ill for a while, and I was at the Wildflower Festival, and I got a call that said he was sick and not gonna make it. So I came back home, and I just parked my butt next to his hospital bed and just sat there, and he was comatose, and all of us, it was one of those days it was this, it's going to be any moment now thing.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, he opened his eyes and I was weeping, turned and looked at me and said, "Cut the shit." And then he closed his eyes again. And that was the last thing my dad ever said to me. So whenever I start crying because I miss him, I just remember that.
Or every time you tell yourself you can't do it, you just hear that little voice in your head.
It's great advice and really versatile. I'm going to pass that on to my son. But I wanted to write a song as a memorial for my dad, and he did not like folk music. He wanted me to play toe tapping music, which was either country or the blues. And he said it like that too. It had to be one of the two. It was always, "Grace, you play the blues, and then you can do anything you want after, but you got to play the blues." So after he died, I thought, oh, that would be really sweet, if I write him a country or a blues toe tapper to commemorate his life. But I wrote him a folk song. Sorry, Dad. Sorry. It wasn't on purpose, I swear.
I love it.
Oh, my goodness. I was just thinking that that's merch I could sell as a t-shirt with my logo, and it can just say "Cut the shit." And I think people would really dig that. All right. This is called Throwing Stones. May God bless you and send you an angel. I'll be looking down from my home. Remember, I always loved you. When the world quits playing ball and starts throwing stones, it's a long, long way to Tipperary. I see setting suns and you see the dawn. Sometimes I look through your window till I see the lights start turning on. May God bless you and send you an angel. I'll be looking down from my home. Remember, I always loved you. When the world quits playing ball and starts throwing stones, I've walked away from heavy doorways. I've walked away from painful tears. I found my garden in your eyes, love. You were my hope and peace throughout the years. May God bless you and send you an angel. I'll be looking down from my home. Remember, I always loved you. When the world quits playing ball and starts throwing stones, I am your constellation. Hold me near. I only hope you know you are my dear. It's a long, long way to Tipperary. I see setting suns and you see the dawn. I found my garden in your eyes, love. Please know my heart ain't gone. May God bless you and send you an angel. I'll be looking down from my home. Remember, I always loved you. When the world quits playing ball and starts throwing stones. When the world quits playing ball and starts throwing stones. When the world quits playing ball and starts throwing stones. Thank you.
Oh man. Oh, that's so good. And I was just like, wasn't sure if I was started to harmonize if you would hear me, but man, that song is just asking for harmonies.
I know. I was actually thinking about that the whole time. Like, I wish she could sing on this. We'll have to make that a to-do list, a post-pandemic to-do list that we harmonize
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, and we have so many things in common. The story about your dad, I was just like, oh man, so we have to be besties.
Yes, I'm 100% in on that. What I've noticed, and I wonder if this happens to you, so we've been very, very COVID conscious, and I've got, my son is 2, my husband, and then I've got teenage stepdaughters that live with us as well. And so that's just been us, right? Anytime I've come in contact with a human being that's not one of those people, it's like I can't stop telling them about every single thing in my life. like clearly they want to know how many times I vacuumed yesterday, right? And I cannot help it.
Oh my gosh, I hope that we are not alone because it's so true. It's like, oh my God, a real life person. And then I didn't really do anything because there's the pandemic and I was just sitting around, but like, can I just tell you that I was sitting around? I took a shower today. It's very exciting.
It's a big deal.
It is. It's so true. I have a really good friend, best friend I grew up with. She literally lives 2 blocks away. And for years, she's like, so when you move back to Spring Green? And I was like, ha, 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 never going to move back to Spring Green. And now I'm here, which is so crazy. And I moved back here because my dad passed and I was like, I can't let my mom be alone. That's just not right. And when we get together, because she's working from home and she has a really high power job, and I work from home. And I'm a vocal coach, which is a high power job.
It is.
And sometimes we get together and we're just like emptying the bucket.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. We just got to empty the bucket. And sometimes she'll go, oh my gosh, am I talking too much? You don't really care about my job. And I'm like, no, just keep talking.
I am really glad you said that. And I love that concept of the bucket. So I find, and most of the people I do this to have not been as isolated as we are. And I like walk away from these conversations. It's a lot of it's actually with my in-laws, you know, the people I desperately want to have like me. And I walk away, I'm like, oh my God, like, why did I not just shut up? And then I always send them a note after, like, I'm so sorry I talk so much. I swear I'm normal.
And Brian is telling us we're not alone. Thank goodness. That was a relief.
Thank you, Brian. Okay.
I know. I'm guessing that at some point when we all are able to get together, we're just like, okay, let's just set up a little outside circle and let everybody just talk.
Yeah, we can have the talking stick and you just pass it around because without that, we're all just going to blah, blah, blah.
I was thinking the same thing.
I think that's wonderful. So tell me about the vocal coaching. Did you go to college for music?
No, I went to college for theater.
Ooh.
But I had a really great theater program. And at the time, we had a professor who ended up becoming the dean of the department who was really into musical theater. And we were required before graduating to take a musical theater class. And I'm a contralto. I can be a little husky and raspy. And I hadn't had any formal training. And so when we were in class, he said, you know, if you're a great singer, because we had music majors and we had theater majors. He said, if you're a great singer, but you don't know how to act, you better sing the heck out of a song to get an A in my class. And if you're a great actor, you better act the heck out of this if I don't think you can sing. And I knew he didn't think I could sing.
Really? Can you hear my son running around?
Oh, I was like, is that me?
That's a toddler.
There's a ghost.
I told him he needed to be very calm tonight. I told him to rein it in.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun though. Yeah, so I was in this class and I just knew I wasn't a soprano. So I set up all these songs and really worked them out. And so this might have been my junior or senior year of college. And forgive me to everybody who's always been to my shows and you've heard this story 1,000 times. So he would critique everybody
It's so loud.
in front of everybody in class. So I get done singing Kiss of the Spider Woman, Cheetah Rivera. And I go to the back of the class and he's like, oh, okay, Camela. Camela is a great example of someone who is an amazing actress but can't sing.
No.
And I was like fuming. And that summer, I was hired to be one of the leads in an outdoor theater that had 1,500 seats but no microphones. So I, out of my I'll show you, I went to the speech pathology department in college and I started to learn how our speaking voice can really create issues with our singing voice. And then I started to go on the road with my own singer-songwriter. Sometimes we'll go out for 5-6 days and we might have a morning show if we can squeeze one in because we're just trying to make the gas and the food and maybe a little extra. So we're squeezing everything in. And anybody who's ever been to Surfa or Nerfa, you're talking all day and then you're performing at 1 in the morning. And it was taking its toll. And so I found a vocal, probably 3 different vocal styles that I was studying from different vocal coaches online. And I was not losing my voice. And it was changing the way that I wrote my songs. Mm-hmm. I started to go, oh, I'm writing all of my songs really low, in this low part of my chest voice. So I already knew a fair amount. But then I actually went to a spiritual teacher. I've been studying Sufism for about 22 years. And I said to him, how can I make a little more money with my music? And he said, teach. I was like, teach what? And he just said teach and he wouldn't answer. He was like this big Yoda guy. And he was like, teach. And I was like, It's like, well, I really know voice and I know people and I know how to really deeply listen to people and from a physical standpoint and an emotional standpoint. So I started to just teach what I know and teach what I learned from being on the road to not lose my voice. Big hint, cooling down is really huge. Cool down your voice after a show. And and I start, and you know, one of the things that's so valuable for all of us is teach something that you know, because then when you do, you realize how deeply you know it. And it's such a confidence builder to go, oh my gosh, I really know this, and I'm pretty good at this. So yeah, and you know, anybody that's looking for like high end, you know, operatic stuff, I'm not the person to go to. But if someone's shy, if someone is having vocal trouble, if someone needs someone to be their champion, I'm your girl.
Which is what you need in a vocal teacher. I taught privately for years. That was my only income, and I had to stop when I had my son. I had to kind of make a choice between teaching and singing, and I made that choice just before the pandemic too. But to me, teaching voice was always more about giving a person confidence in themselves beyond anything else. You know, it's just. And for someone, especially a teacher, you know, someone in an authority position, to say to anybody that they can't sing or that they're not good at singing is just, it's like the utmost cruelty to me, because I feel like the voice, you know, we've got this concept in our culture that it's all about sounding like Christina Aguilera. But it's not. I think singing is about expressing yourself in a way that nobody else can. You are the only one with that color. And so for someone to take that from you, it takes years to get that out of your head.
You'd be surprised.
Somebody said that to me. So I studied voice in college, and I told you about my dad wanted me to sing the blues, so I belted everything.
Yeah.
I had no head register. And so my college years were spent building that. And somebody said to me while I was trying to build it, and I was doing like, do you know 500 Miles High, the jazz tune? It's like,
I don't know if I've heard that yet.
Oops, strings. It's like, someday you look into her eyes. It was really high. And this guy came up to me. He said, "Can you not?" And it took me until now. Honestly, when I talk about Brian building my confidence, it took a long time to get that out of my head.
It's amazing how we actually need that in life. We really need someone to show up and catch us doing things that are beautiful, and it doesn't matter what it is. And for someone to just say, wow, you know, I was in the grocery store with a friend who was 26 cents short on something, and I just handed her 26 cents, and she looked at me and she said, oh my gosh, that was so loving. Thank you. And I was like, oh, is that loving?
I just gave you the,
yeah, it's just kind of what you do. But yeah, we need those moments where we lift each other up. And I hope that that's happened with quarantining and pandemic. I see that much more. There's an intimacy that's available between my network and community. People are like, okay, we slowed way down. What's important?
Yeah. And I think, so you're teaching online right now?
I am.
So I love that you said that you can be someone's champion, and that's what you want in a vocal coach. So if anyone's listening and considering that, that is what you want.
Yay.
So I want to, before your next song, I just want to share with you, you know, like, we never quite know what image we put out to other people and how other people perceive us. And I want you to know that what I'm picking up is that you're this lovely, warm person with a great sense of style that can decorate a room. That's what I'm picking up from what I see on your screen.
Wait till you see the other half of the room.
Is it great?
No.
Well, in my mind, you are a great interior decorator.
That's so great. When I moved here, if anybody digs through my Facebook page, you can see that this was my dad's work corner, and it was full of paints and all kinds of tools, and it was dingy and dark, and I needed a place to teach where I could stand, because I've been sitting for years and I just can't sit anymore. So I just kind of set it up so that what my students would look at is inspiring, and I thought, I could do some shows here too. So
Yes, it's very inspiring.
yay.
What are you going to play for us?
So, as we were talking about our dads and life, when I sat down and wrote this song, it's about 2 years old now, maybe 3 years old. I can't remember. It was a really, really happy, sort of joyful anthem, if you will. And for those that are really into music and songwriting, my challenge on this one was to just use 4 chords. And aside from the bridge, it's just four chords. And when my dad passed, they asked if I would play at his funeral. We had one last summer when things were a little bit more available to have safe gatherings. And I was looking through all of my songs and I was like, oh, this is the song and it's brand new. And I thought, well, you know, when you were talking about you need a toe tapping song, those were always the songs my dad loved. All the ones that had some sort of like, you know, old school country vibe to it. And so when I was sitting with this, I was like, this is the song. And so it used to be this like really joyful song, and now it really chokes me up. So this is called Stars. 1, 2, 3, 4. Under the sky where I learned to pray, looking at the stars, dreaming, couldn't get out fast enough, but they never tell you, you take it all with you, wherever you go. I wanna fly to you, tell me I'm gold, that I'll never get old. My love's gonna mean something someday. You will remember me for all that I gave. We are stars, we are gold. We'll never get old. Nothing prepares you for the heartbreak, or how many dreams life will take from you. Love means more as you get old. I wanna catch those memories and never let go. I wanna fly to you, tell me I'm gold, that I'll never get old. My love's gonna mean something someday. You will remember me for all that I gave. We are stars, we are gold. We'll never get old. We are stars, we are gold. We'll never get old. I wanna fly to you, tell me I'm gold, that I'll never get old. My love's gonna mean something someday. You will remember me for all that I gave. We are stars, we are gold. We'll never get old. We are stars, we are gold. We'll never get old.
You had me weeping in the middle of that song. Holy shnikes, girl. I'm like trying not to cry right now. What a stunning performance and song. And like, I am a fan.
Oh, yay.
Ooh, and just, yeah, oh. You captured that bittersweet thing in that song. You crystallized that shit. Okay, excuse me. That was, oh my God.
Oh, hi, David. It's good to see you.
So
Thank
beautiful.
you.
And Ruth is here. Ruth is my mom's first cousin, but we've never met because we're here in Mass and she's on the West Coast. And I think my remembering is she's up near Oregon, right, Ruth? Correct me if I'm wrong. In that ballpark. Anyway, it's parts of my family that I desperately want to meet. My grandfather is her dad's brother, and he was a really quiet guy, and you know, it was hard to get to know him. And there's just, you know, I just feel like connecting with that part of my family would help me get to know him. I'm just glad you're here, Ruth. I'm gonna do a song that's gonna get me off the crying ledge. I'm gonna cut the shit. So
We are folk artists, after all.
So I wrote this song for my dad because this was during the pandemic and I was going to make this record and I wanted to do something for him. And so I wrote this country song. And when we were in the studio, I joked with the producer and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we put some horse clip clops at the end? It'll sound like Gunsmoke or something.
Did you find horse clip clops?
We did it. The end of the song has horse clip clops and a little bing, like a little gun going off.
I love it.
I didn't know if that was in poor taste, but it makes me laugh. So I just... Washington. Ruth is in Washington. So and one of the things I'm most excited about, so back when my dad was telling me I ought to do country music, I was like, okay, fine, Dad, I'll listen to country. And I got a Dixie Chicks CD. And I always I'm a credit reader. I'm sure you are too. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's so cool. The lead singer's dad's playing on her album. That's really neat. And so like I've kept track through the years and he's always playing on her records. And I got him to play on mine. So Lloyd Maines
so cool.
is playing on this song. And man, pedal steel can take a song that you think is good and just make it like better than you thought.
I know. I never loved country music growing up, but then that pedal steel gets on your song and you're like, ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I remember distinctly like hating the twang. I would tell my dad like, I don't want to listen to that. It's got twang in it. Like, didn't know what twang was, but but yes, you're right. You get the twang and it's like, yes, it's a thing. All right, so I'm gonna play my cowboy song. Side note, my dad, we had one TV growing up, and my dad was in control of the television, and it was always cowboy movies, always. And my favorite, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So we used to watch Terminator, Predator, and Quigley Down Under. That is my favorite cowboy movie, Tom Selleck. Do you know it? Quigley Down Under?
Yeah,
please,
it's been played in this house.
It's such a great film. Oh my gosh. Quigley Down Under is an underrated classic. Anyway, I'm going to be thinking about Quigley while I play this song. As much as I love Quigley Down Under, I'm not a big mustache person. That's the one thing about Quigley that just doesn't quite do it for me. Anywho. This song's called Free. What the hell was I thinking of when I let you turn the key? My tongue is tied, my breath is short. I didn't let you get the best of me. I heard the tires rumble, I felt the earth shake. I knew my hands trembled. Maybe my biggest mistake is wanting to find a life not needing anyone else to be. So I'm free. It's just me, and I'm free. What the hell was I thinking of when I didn't call you back? I came up short with the words to say. It wasn't in bad heart beating. God, I can't relax. Sometimes love is fleeting. Sometimes it comes back. I'm wanting to find a life spent loving somebody else, but it's me. And I'm free. It's just me. And I'm free. And then there's oh man, thank you.
You write great melodies.
Oh,
They're,
thank
those melodies
you.
are like earworms. I'm gonna be like, dun, da, 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 da. I'd be like, I don't know the words, but I got the melody.
I tell you what, that is I recognize my biggest failing as a songwriter, because for a super long time that is the only thing I gave a shit about was a hook. Like I didn't care what my words were. There was no story. I was like, I just need a hook. You know, it
I
was
love
almost
melodies,
as if
though. I
yeah,
do.
it's important. See, Taylor Swift though, I paid attention because she gets the hook and the lyrics. You see, that's the magic.
Yeah,
Do you want to just talk about Taylor Swift now?
I know, right? Taylor. But you know, when I was at Swananoa, I met Cliff Eberhardt, which you had, I think, about a month ago.
Yep.
And he's another really lovely soul. I just feel such gratitude to be connected to. I guess it's been 2 or 3 years now that we've done Swananoa together, and he came up to me after we have a faculty concert on Wednesdays at Swananoa, and you get to play 2 songs. And you're among all of these like super famous contemporary folk artists. You're like, oh my God, I got 2 shots. And so, you know, you play your best song, and having a song like that where everybody's like grooving is so important. And he came up to me and he said, you know, sometimes folk music can really err on the side of not paying attention to the melody, because we can get so focused on telling the stories. And he said, but you can write good melodies. And I was like, oh my gosh. You know, like, again, like catching somebody in a moment, and when somebody just says that, it stays with you. But I like the story. Yeah, totally. And I love the story songs and folk music too. Like when they just like another layer of the story comes. So I like all of it. But yeah, your melodies are so hooky, and I love that. I really do love that.
Oh, that means so much to me.
So fun.
I was just thinking about like the master of that's Laurie McKenna, right? Like she can tell you that story, and she's got that melody, and it's just like,
I want to be her when I grow up. Oh.
And she's cool. She's like a really. Have you met her?
I haven't, but I just keep reading about her. Like Vance Gilbert is friends with her and was texting, like she just had won 3 Grammys this year, and he's like, congratulations, and she's like, oh, I'm just a housewife. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. I got to write with her for one song for my new album we wrote together, and I was like terrified to go to her house. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to play it cool? Like, how can I be cool?
I am with you. Tell us how, because I'm not good at co-writing. I still get like...
I don't think that I was cool. I don't think I nailed that. There was a moment during the session where we talked about her Roomba vacuums. We talked about Roombas. But no, I wasn't cool at all.
Whatever breaks the ice. No, seriously though, like there's so many songs I'll be like, oh, I love that song, and then I go to TuneFind, or I go to All Lyrics or something, and I look up who wrote on it, and I'm like, she is on so many songs I love. I'm a huge Sarah Bareilles fan, and her last record, Amidst the Chaos, is just such a stunning piece of art. Yeah. And she's on 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, it's unreal. And you know the best part about Laurie McKenna that I love? So when I was 21, I was singing backup vocals for Eddie Money, and somebody came up to me.
Wait. What?
I'm not trying to name drop. I'm only saying that so you understand why this.
When you were 12?
21. I was 21.
Oh, I thought you said 12. I was like, wait but still, 21, backup singer, whoa.
So I was like, everything these people said to me, I was holding on to like it was the gospel. And someone came up to me and said, you know, you're not a spring chicken anymore. You should just quit. I was 21.
At 21?
At 21. And so that's always a thing in my brain, right? But Laurie McKenna has been working this for a while, and she didn't get her big moment until she was like mid-40s and had children. And it's just, I think that's the best part of the story, is that like none of that crap matters if you have songs. You know,
I
if you
have
have
so
songs
much
tell.
to say about how our culture holds what's valuable and what isn't in all realms, not just songwriting and art, but like when you actually read some of the greatest artists and painters and writers, they didn't really hit their stride until their 60s and sometimes their 70s. Like they really had something to say at that moment in time. There was wisdom, there was being knocked down and pulling yourself back up over and over and over. And I really just think it's time for all of us to align in our own voice, in our own heart and spirit with what is it that you have to give the world. And please, please, anybody who's watching this show, don't ever stop. Don't ever give up. I don't care how old you are or what you've been through. If you've got something to share or give, don't let any of those cultural voices that play by rules are going to always change. You know, we look at a Botticelli painting and we're like, okay, yeah, the skinny mini was not always popular. So let's just like give what you have to give. So having that, I don't know, chutzpah to just go, whatever, you can keep your thoughts to yourself because your music is so beautiful and I can't imagine keeping it from the world because somebody told you to stop at 21.
Isn't
Who
that
even
crazy?
knows themselves then?
But it's like, well, that's just it, right? Like, what did I have to say at 21? Nothing. Nothing to say. I didn't
wasn't
know
ready.
anything about the world. No. And I just think, it's a marketing ploy. This idea that it's got to be this young, beautiful thing. Like, give me music with some meat to it.
And
That's what I say.
I have this artist I'm friends with, Julia Junkin. If anybody really likes painting that's kind of whimsical and deeply spiritual, Julia Junkin, she's on Facebook. And she was such a great story of an artist like making it out of necessity. She said, I was living in Seattle, I think it was Seattle, Portland, and she had just gotten a divorce and she had to make up the rent in her apartment. She didn't know what to do. And all around her, people had said, painting, give it up, give it up. But she's like, okay, now I have to make money. So she would paint on a sheet, like a bed sheet, because that's all she had. And she'd go out in the street, sometimes in the festivals or into the farmer's market and say to people, do you like this? Would you buy it? And they'd say, oh my gosh, yeah. She'd go back in and put it on a canvas and sell it. And that's how she got started. And now she's like, she's huge. And she said to me, Widad, don't ever stop. Because if you keep going, there'll be people all around you that will fall away because they'll have given up. And if you just keep going, you're going to get experienced and more confident as you go along. And then you're going to kind of be in a smaller pool. And I thought, oh, wow, just don't give up.
Yeah.
Just show up.
There's somebody, do you know Shanna in a Dress? She's another singer-songwriter.
It sounds familiar.
She's
but
got a really fun whole thing going on. She's a really cool
Nice.
person. But she said that too. She said something like, I may not be the best singer, I may not be the best songwriter, but I cannot quit.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's just I love that. Let's just not quit.
And there's someone who's fed by what we do. So
Yes. I'm fed by what you do, and I want to hear more of it.
yay. So I'm going to play another new one. My guitar really needs to be serviced. So forgive me for all the tuning, but my E string gets a little wonky every time I put a capo on, especially when I go up the scale. So, and the basement's really cold down here. So forgive
You're
me.
in the basement too?
I am.
This is great. This is a basement concert. Yes.
Yeah, and when it gets warm outside, the basement gets cold. So the guitar's kind of like, I can feel it's flowing in and out.
Yes.
So I've been a single mom for for 10 years, for 10 and a half years. And I just refused to give up playing music. I always found a way to make it work. And as I was sitting down with this generation of girls rising up and becoming young women, what they're bringing to the world is just so beautiful and so needed. It's sort of like in their hearts is this world that that they came into that doesn't entirely make sense to them because they're here to build this world that's full of love and unity and beauty, but they're also really like no nonsense. So this is one of these songs that just tumbled out in like 5 minutes, and my daughter was like in the next room and she yells over, "That's a good one, Mom." It's like, okay, coming from a teenager, I guess I'm winning. So this is called Today's Girl.
She can drive a stick shift, clean the house with the baby on her hip. She can bake a birthday cake from scratch. She loves a black dress and a strappy heel. She cusses like a sailor, but man, that girl, she knows how to read you when you need an healing. Her mama raised her strong as steel, but that girl don't hide her tender heart. Oh, woman, she suffers no fools. So, baby, get ready. She's today's girl. Ooh, yeah. She's potent, speaking up, and generally taking it to the streets. She's a lover, a mother, a friend, a loyal partnership. It's taken too long for these wounds to heal. Just show up, hold her tight, and love her like a mountain. Her mama raised her strong as steel, but that girl don't hide her tender heart. Oh, woman, she suffers no fools. Oh, baby, get ready. She's today's girl. Baby, get ready. Oh, she's today's girl. Oh. Some only stay long enough to get their kicks, 'cause most still trying to figure how to keep up. Ooh, you'll love her, hate her, she'll heal you, frustrate you, until your heart lets go. We put up with so much, listen to those stories one more time. You'll see how done she is with saying, me too. Misogynistic, condescending tones. We've learned to grow up with things like, wow, girl, you can play the guitar. Her mama raised her strong as steel, but that girl don't hide her tender heart. Oh, woman, she suffers no fools. Oh, baby, get ready. She's today's girl. Oh, baby, get ready. Oh, she's today's girl. Oh, suck it up, buttercup, 'cause she's today's girl.
I was harmonizing and playing my tambourine.
I know. As I was playing it, I was like, ooh, maybe Grace will sing back. I was like, that's right.
I was, but I didn't want to like pipe in and be out of sync with you. But I had my little baby tambourine.
Oh, Hollis, you're here. I love you.
Hi, Hollis. I had a vision. You know, a lot of people that I know try to like manifest their futures or whatever. I was just trying to manifest being on a tour with you and singing the harmony and playing my tambourine.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, I think once all of this opens up, there's going to be shows together.
Yes. That's all I want to do. Any touring I do, I want it to be with other artists, and we play in the round like this, and it will just feel so good. I'm very
And we
excited.
know each other's songs, and we can sing along.
Yes. That was such a great song.
I love that song right now. And we rehearsed, and we have the whole band on it, and we got some like just really fun moments. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
So I was trying to think, like, I can't follow that, so I thought I'd just talk for 10 minutes and people can forget how great that was, and then I'll do my song.
Now, come on now. You just keep raising the greatness. Like, lay your bet, and then I'll go, okay, let me see. Lay mine. I don't know.
Oh, man. So we were talking earlier about Taylor Swift and recording our new records, and so you mentioned that you're doing an EP. How many songs?
5.
Okay, so what's funny about that is when I first decided I wanted to make a new record almost a year ago, I called my producer and I was like, hey, I just want to do this 5-song stripped down EP. It's going to be like simple instrumentation. So no, it's 15 fully produced songs. It is not that.
And full band, all kinds of awesome sounds. I know. Once you start getting inside the song, you're like, oh, and then strings would be cool.
Yes.
And then maybe a little bass clarinet. And someone's like,
Yes.
what? You're like, just go with it.
So I was rocking out to Folklore, the Taylor Swift album, every day going to the studio. And so this is my one song that I feel like we got even into that sonic ballpark that she has created. And the song was, I think my husband's watching, that's okay. I haven't decided how to introduce this song anymore, but I was going through old photo albums from high school, and I had recently reconnected with my high school boyfriend, and so we were just chit-chatting, and I was looking at the pictures, and I was starting to get all that sentimental, like, oh, like we're getting old, and it's so long ago, and all these, and I started like going down this rabbit hole of like choices I've made in my life, and thinking about like, well, what if it had been different, and so this was like straight out of my photo album, memories of that particular high school boyfriend who broke my heart. Yeah. Hello, Madeline.
Oh, it's so good to see you here.
So, and I'm going to couch this with, I haven't performed this in maybe almost ever. So we'll see how this
world
goes.
premiere.
Wait, let's see how this goes. Just imagine a lot of cool like synths and stuff going on in the background.
Ooh, yeah.
So let's see. This song's called Alice. Someone asked me, someone listened to it, and they were like, who is Alice? Is that like a grandma? No, Alice like Wonderland Alice, like going down the rabbit hole.
I remember how you'd look at me. Across the room I'd hide behind a magazine. I think you told me that we'd always be. Then you showed me how a man could leave. I remember that you gave it all. I remember feeling like I was falling. What did she have that I didn't get? But what you said I'll never forget. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Wanna know what it's like to look into your eyes. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Come on, let's be a little less civilized. Drove your Jetta to the harbor. It was a little bit harder to find a line between a friend and me. And I would think, God, let this be. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Wanna know what it's like to look into your eyes. I wanna give it up, I wanna kiss your love. Come on, let's be a little less civilized. A little less civilized. And I'm a little like Alice, following photographs. It's a one-way track. I'm a little like Alice, everything's beautiful, but then I go back. Sometimes I go back. I remember how it used to be. Lady in red, and we were dancing back when we could be anything. If we could see us now, would we be laughing? I wanna give it up, I wanna kiss your love. Wanna know what it's like to look into your eyes. I wanna kiss your love, I wanna give it up. Come on, let's be a little less civilized. A little less civilized.
are with the hooky melodies again. But also painting so many pictures with your words. Goodness, I think we can all relate to that song.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's my favorite one on the album, but I think that's maybe because I don't play it all the time, so it's fresh when I listen to it.
And isn't that funny when we make records, there are songs that I'll be like, oh, I love this one. Everyone's going to love this one. And it's almost always something else that I didn't see coming. I'm like, oh, you really like that one? Huh.
Yes. It's so funny that you say that. So one of the things I've labored over in this whole album release strategy thing is like, do I promote this to country radio? Do I promote this to AAA radio? Like, what is this thing? I don't know. And when I presented it to the radio promoters, like in my mind, that was going to be the song they latched onto. Like, I was sure of it. Not even close. I'm like, you're picking that song? Really? Yeah.
That's so cool that they picked it, though, because I did some radio promotions of like, pick 3 songs, and I was like, oh, the pressure.
I know.
I don't know.
Like, you tell me. I'm hiring you to tell me.
Oh my gosh, so true.
I don't know if anyone in the audience is a musician, but like we were talking earlier about how overwhelming it is to plan the promotional strategy behind an album, especially when you hire professional people like a publicist, and these people, like, they know what they're doing. They do this all the time, and all of a sudden, like, I feel like I'm supposed to be the quarterback for this sport that I don't know how to play, but they all do. I'm like, anyway.
Yeah, you should all share with us that are listening, because we'll go back and read it. How do you consume music these days? I've done a couple of surveys, and it's really hard for us because it's all over the map. It's like some people, it's complete download and streaming. There's a lot of vinyl resurgence, which is really cool because I think it's a great way to listen to music. Our typical way of like kind of getting music out there was CDs, because radio DJs like to have CDs. But I mean, in all the surveys I did, there's not a lot of people. They'll say, oh, we get CDs to support the artist, but we don't even have a CD player. It's not in our car. So, leave us some comments and let us know, like, how, when you listen to your songs, is it in the car? Is it at home? Is it Spotify? Is it Pandora? So I was working with this brand new student today who's 7, and I said, so, what's your favorite kind of music, and like, where do you listen? Is it musical theater? And she's so young that lessons are just playfulness and learning melodies and breath. And she was like, I listen on Pandora. I was like, wow, that was pretty sophisticated for 7.
Like, I, as a consumer, like, I've been laboring over this too. Like, how many CDs do I even order? Because 1,000 feels like a lot to buy. But like, I, as a consumer, really just use Alexa. I just said Alexa, and she's going to pop on over there.
Yeah. The other thing is, as I see Madeline here, if she's still here watching the show, I met Madeline because we were both doing a sync songwriting class together, learning about the world of placing music in movies, ads, and TV. Because I realized that's a huge place where I discover new artists now. It's sort of like the new DJs. So yeah, I'll be like, Siri, what song is this?
And that's like the dream, right? Like, somebody on my team asked me what my goals are, and I was like, I don't know, to have one of my songs in Law and Order. Then that's all I really need.
Awesome.
CSI would be fine. Bones isn't airing anymore, so I'll go with Law and Order. SVU, please.
Oh, I love it.
But that's like the dream, right? Have you had any syncs?
No, I actually haven't even started going that direction. It's something I wanted for so long. And I realize sometimes when I write my music, and a lot of my supporters here have said this, there's something cinematic in the way that my songs kind of build and move, and the melodies. I just didn't know where to find it. Yeah. And I would go to producers and I would ask, and just like anything else in music, or in all of the work that most of us are in, you create relationships. And so yeah, I kind of have a little better understanding of how the system works. And it moves very quickly. So the old school of making music is, I'm kind of torn between a couple of worlds right now, of like wanting to just go into the studio and hire all these people, and also just doing some of the stuff myself. So, yeah.
Matt gave us an answer. Matt has not bought a CD in the past 5 to 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's buying
I
on
do the
iTunes.
same thing. I'll buy someone's CD to support them, but I also buy it on iTunes so everyone knows, iTunes actually pays out a little bit more per song and stream than some of the other platforms. So if you like really want to help an artist buy that dollar song, if it's just the song you like,
Or in your Bandcamp.
Yes.
Go to
You can
Camela's
to my
Bandcamp. There's a
That's
link
right.
up there.
And Bandcamp's really cool because like once a month, well, maybe sometimes it's once every 3 months during the pandemic, they've been having a Friday that's all free. Like they don't take any overhead and all the money goes to the artist. So you can watch for that sometimes too.
Yeah, so just like buy her music on Bandcamp on a Friday. You know? What are you going to play for us?
So I'm going to play Reason to Fight.
I'm going to write it down so I don't have to ask you later.
Yeah. So for those of you that have been around for a bit know that in 2011, my dad was diagnosed with leukemia. And it's the kind of cancer where it's like, he's got this, let's go. Started chemo and everything right away. And they never know how chemo is going to make you feel, or if it's going to work, or if it's going to hurt you, any of that kind of stuff. And I think he was about 2 months in and he just was feeling horrible. For those of you that have gone through chemo or have had family members, you probably know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they don't want to eat because their mouth tastes like metal, and they lose their appetite, and sometimes they lose their meaning and their will. And I remember sitting down with Dad and saying, well, you need a reason to get to the other side of this. So next year, like when you're all better, what do you want to do? And he looked at me like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, what do you want? When you feel good again, you want to get in the car, drive to Nashville, go to the Grand Ole Opry again? Like, what is it that you want? Because you need a reason. You need a reason to fight, Dad. And so that was 2011, and he went through the treatments, and it did wreck his body a little bit, but we had 9 more years with him. And so he passed away last year, and my mom was with him, and it was really beautiful. It wasn't coronavirus, but I remember, coming back home, and you never know, are you going to see them again? Because I was on the East Coast, like, okay, this could be it. Like, this could be the last time. And I couldn't sleep, and I was sitting on the kitchen floor writing this song. And truth be told, I had green tea in a mason jar, but I thought, Americana artist, I should change that to red wine. So this is a Reason to Fight.
Red wine in a mason jar. It's midnight again. I don't care, sleep don't come. It's better than sleeping alone. I don't know why, baby, just sometimes you gotta go it alone. To find yourself, your life, your reason to fight. Your reason to fight. I've been crying for a dream. It was never gonna be. I got nothing to grab, nothing to hold. I'm a ghost on the sidewalk. Just walk on me, I'll be lucky if I get out with my soul. I'm gonna follow those cuts. I wanna see how deep they go. To find myself, my light, my life, my reason to fight. A reason to fight. Oh, oh, oh. can we get out with our soul? Why don't you follow those cuts? Don't you want to see how deep they go? To find yourself, your light, your life, your reason to fight, your reason to fight. Red wine in a mason jar. It's midnight again.
Stunning.
I know, kind of ending with a sad song. Sorry, everybody,
No,
but I love you.
so beautiful. Do not apologize for anything. And I just want to tell you that I'm so glad that I trusted my gut, because when I first saw you in that last scene, I was like, I really like her, and I just love you more now.
Aww.
You're just so great, and I want to be friends.
Me too. Yes, yes.
So
Hi, Beth.
that's a lot of hearts. She loved it.
That is who Beth is. She has so much heart.
And Hollis, is that a flower? No, it's a heart with an arrow. It's a Cupid heart.
Oh.
And so no, usually when I am playing with another artist, I'll try to balance, like if they do something slower, I'll go up, or you try to like, but I'm not going to do that. Hey, Veronica, I'm just going to keep us where we are.
Okay.
Because you were talking about, it's not quite the same thing, but finding a reason to fight. And for me, I have always struggled with self-confidence and like finding reasons to think that I'm valuable. Like I'm sure we all have that, right? But that whole imposter syndrome thing. And so I was reflecting on why that is. And I was thinking about like, none of my grown-ups growing up had any self-confidence in themselves either. And so despite how many times they would tell me I was great and could do anything, what I was hearing and what I was seeing were two different things. And what I was seeing was stronger. And so, I've kind of had that realization that I'm trying to find this inner strength that I wish that I could communicate to them, So this is the second to last song on my album. And it's called The Edge of I Am, because I feel like I'm like right, almost ready to like be more confident. Not quite, almost. Toes dipping in the water. I'm really glad Veronica is here. She has a really cool live stream every Tuesday night. Always with really interesting guests. Veronica, who do you have for a guest tomorrow night? Tell us. All right. I'm having that tuning capo thing.
I always watched through shuttered doors, wishing that I had a pair of oars. The tide would pull out and carry me, lost in the strength of the sea. I didn't know time would run, but I'm on the edge of I am. I'm on the edge of I can. I'm at the end of my rope, and God, I pray she'll float. My mother walked a crooked mile. One crooked man stole her smile. When I looked up, all I could see, we don't have a right to set ourselves free. She didn't know time would run, she'll float. She'll float. My daddy tried to fix her heart, but he didn't have one single part. Standing in silence, it was all he could be. I think he saved his heart for me, and he didn't know time would run. But I'm on the edge of I am. I'm on the edge of I can. I'm at the end of my rope, and God, I pray she'll float. She'll float.
Oh my good Lord, that is so good.
Thank you. I started it a whole step too high.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. It is good sometimes to like take that, you get a little push, a little pressure there, and it's just kind of, that was good.
That was a big mistake. I was supposed to capo here.
I know, and you get into the song, you're like, Mayday, okay, breath.
That's what happened. I was like, shit, I gotta do this one different.
But that is a song I would listen to over and over again. It's such a good reminder, like, yes, we all feel that same way.
Yeah.
I love the story you said ahead of time, because it's more empowering. You know, everything about that is like, yeah, you know, everyone, you were just on the edge. That's,
Yeah.
I
And
would
it's
listen
just
to
such
that
a,
bunch.
it's a journey for all of us, right? Like every day you just step more into yourself, I think. Anyway, I'm finding that
Yeah.
as I get away from being 21 and being not a spring chicken anymore. Goodness. Camela Widad, I have had such an amazing time
Me too.
getting to know you tonight. I feel like I found a kindred spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Please, everybody, if you look up in the clickable links in the description, I've got a Spotify playlist, and I've been doing this show every Monday night since September 14th, and it's got all the artists that I've had, and they're all just so wonderful. There hasn't been one person I didn't like. The music's great. The people are great. Camela's going to be in the top of the list tomorrow, so please, please follow that. You know, it helps us all to get more than just a fraction of a penny. I think that's the goal there. And hold on, let's fix this one more time. So if you haven't already and you are able to throw some tips in the tip jar, we'd super appreciate that. And if not, we understand. And you can just go like her Facebook page, and you can go to her website, which has links to all the stuff, right?
Yes. All the social network links are pretty standard for websites. They're either like on the bottom and kind of small, but they're there.
Yes. I saw yours earlier because I looked.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, I just launched my fan funding campaign for my new album, and it's all on my website. And you can see I learned how to make a website. It took me a month, and I failed, and my husband fixed it, but I'm not working to that. Oh, man.
And thank you so much for hosting this. I know it's sometimes just a deep labor of love. All the promoters that were here tonight watching the show, I'm grateful for the promoters that have the bandwidth to put this together and work the technology and get artists in there, because it's not something that I'm very good at. So I love it when I can step in and share songs. So thank you, Grace.
Oh, you were just so wonderful. I want to share you more. And Denise was here. I'm so glad Denise was here to hear you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for coming, everyone.